This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Every automaker that doesn't count China as their home country better be ready for a smaller slice of the global market. According to a UBS report, Western automakers sell 81% of all the vehicles in the world right now. But due to the rise of Chinese automakers and their affordable cars, that share of the market will fall to 58% by 2030. However, this doesn't apply to Tesla. UBS forecasts that its market share will go from 2% today up to about 8% by the end of the decade. That would put Tesla's sales in the 7 to 8 million range, which would make it the third largest automaker in the world. The companies that really need to worry are European automakers. The report doesn't include the US because UBS doesn't think Chinese automakers will have cracked the market in any significant way by then. So, why is the Volkswagen Group even partnering up with Chinese automakers for future EVs? VW started running into problems, especially with software, and was falling behind in the development process, so it needed to do something quick. Even so, VW Group CEO Oliver Blume says he's not worried about Chinese automakers taking over the EU right now because they need to adapt their vehicles to European regulations and build out their sales networks, which is driving up their prices. And that may be why we're seeing a number of Chinese companies and even a Chinese policy advisor urging for more cooperation, which is a far cry from what we were hearing just last month. BYD's CEO called on Chinese automakers to band together to, quote, demolish the old legends. That same CEO now says he sees more space to work with German counterparts to promote green transportation. By being able to tap into their sales and service networks, Chinese automakers will be able to start to bring down their prices in Europe. This might have you wondering why any Western company would want to partner up with a Chinese automaker, but the UBS report says it's an unstoppable force. And you can really see the start of China's Western invasion at the IAA Auto Show in Munich. Avatar, which is a joint venture between Changan, CATL, and Huawei, has their sleek new hatchback sedan on display. Dongfeng showed off one of its wild-looking vans. Zeekr, which is part of Geely, announced that Germany would be the third European market it sells vehicles in. EV startup Leapmotor revealed a new electric SUV called the C10. The largest EV maker in the world, BYD, says it's kicking off European deliveries and pulled the wraps off a new electric SUV called the Seal U. XPeng announced that it will enter the UK, Germany, and France next year. And lastly, CATL, the largest battery maker in the world, is going to make its new LFP, or lithium iron phosphate battery that it first showed off last month in both Germany and Hungary. BMW is turning to a couple of tech giants to help power its next-gen automated driving system. The automaker announced that AWS, or Amazon Web Services, will be the cloud provider for the platform. BMW will develop its new advanced driver assistance system with AWS to create new features for its next-gen EVs called the New Class, which first launches in 2025. BMW also announced that it will develop the next-gen system using Qualcomm's Snapdragon Ride platform, which is also being used by others like GM and Renault. BMW says these partnerships will make the technology more efficient and help it bring it out faster. Toyota is showing off a prototype version of its Hilux pickup truck that's powered by a hydrogen fuel cell system. The model was developed at Toyota's manufacturing plant in the UK along with several partners and funding from the UK government. The truck's powertrain features components from the Mirai fuel cell sedan, and it also includes 3 high-pressure tanks to store the hydrogen, and a battery which stores electricity produced by the fuel cell. The hydrogen Hilux has an estimated range of 600 kilometers or 373 miles. Toyota plans to build a total of 10 by the end of the year, which will be used to perform safety, durability, and performance tests. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, is ratcheting up its dispute with airbag supplier ARC Automotive. As you may remember, back in May, the agency asked the company to recall tens of millions of airbag inflators because they can potentially explode and hurl shrapnel at occupants. But ARC Automotive refused to do the recall because it said the inflators weren't defective. So yesterday, NHTSA announced that it determined those airbags are defective. NHTSA has scheduled a public hearing for October, which is required before it can force a court-ordered recall. ARC Automotive originally argued that NHTSA only had the legal authority to issue recalls for car companies, but not suppliers. NHTSA says the inflators are responsible for at least 2 deaths and several injuries in the US and Canada since 2009. Heavy-duty truck makers Cummins, Daimler Truck, and PACCAR are forming a joint venture to produce battery cells in the US. Called Accelera, each company will own 30% of the joint venture, while the remaining 10% will be controlled by battery maker EVE Energy, which will provide its battery-making know-how to the partnership. The companies will invest $2 to $3 billion into a 21 gigawatt-hour plant that will initially produce LFP, or lithium iron phosphate batteries, for commercial electric trucks. But the companies didn't reveal where the plant will be located or when it will start production. That brings us to the end of today's show. But before we go, I promised you in yesterday's show an update on tomorrow's Autoline After Hours. And we've got Dr. Royston Jones, the CTO of software company Altair, coming on the show to talk about how technology is helping us make better cars. And we've also got Mike Austin and Bill Visnick joining us to help tackle the hottest news items for the week. And thanks for you making Autoline a part of your day.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. Scheffler, we pioneer motion. And by Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility. We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
At Scheffler, we pioneer motion. Electrifying mobility. Manufacturing smarter. Reducing CO2 emissions, making energy production clean. Scheffler pioneers motion to advance how the world moves.
At Teijin Automotive Technologies, we combine world-class composite materials expertise with cutting-edge designs because, frankly, there are better ways to lightweight vehicles. So lighten up with Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility.